So you've been using the TUBE-TECH Summing Amp for a couple of years?
Yeah, I've had it about 5 years now. I mean, I fucking love that thing. I do. I really do. I think it's. I remember I was working at Real World for about 6 weeks, and while I was there, you know, that Studio One, the desk is pretty huge, and we had like one of the wings on the desk. I just had a session that was sort of Unity faders, you know. And so we tried everything. I had sort of pretty much everything sent down, and you know, just kept getting a session to unplug a D sub for that little bank, pop it in there, have a listen, print it, and you know, I mean, it's not the greatest way to sort of test a summing amp, just sort of pulling out and pushing, because you do need kind of work with it from the ground up. But immediately, it was the first one that had more bottom end than the desk. You know? Immediately, it was just like, oh my god, it's actually got more bass than the 500 grand SSL, you know, which was always a bottleneck problem with summing and generally mixing anything that is, you know, any sort of rock-based music. Is that bottleneck you get into with the bass and the sort of the girth that you get out of a console. As soon as you move over to summing amps, you know, it's a sort of problem area. It's like the width of it and how far down the bass goes. It's you know, you're sort of pissing in the wind a bit with various other summing amps that I tried. So immediately I was interested in it, and I took that and a couple of others back from Real World, and yeah, I just haven't looked back since then. I've had it, like I said, 4 years. And we've just done a new lineup this morning. I put the tone up, it just went straight to 0, left and right, exactly the same. No noise, no whistling valves, no fizzing op amps, you know, and that's been used day in and day out for years, you know. So that's obviously, you know, an issue with anything tube related is reliability and heat and all the other things that come into it. So that's definitely one huge bonus. You know, you want nothing worse than a bit of gear stopping working, and if your desk stops working, what is in theory your desk stops working in the middle of a session, that's kind of balls everything up, you know. So, but yeah, the headroom, you know, it's got plus 30 dB headroom, so you can throw anything. Again, because I work with mainly rock bands, there's a lot of aggressive sounds, there's a lot of sort of harmonics, there's not a lot of space basically in when you're sort of trying to mix a rock band. You know, you've got loud vocals, drummer smashing it, bass player twatting it, guitar player with his 300 guitar parts that he wants to keep every single one of them on it. You know, your constant job as a producer is to try and like make this thing work, and it's so good at just giving back. You know, you push stuff out, you don't ever get that clipping. It never clips. I've never heard it clip. The VUs are wicked, so you're constantly aware of what's going on. You know, and growing up working on consoles, you know, I'd always monitor in output mode, so I'd always be seeing the output of the desk constantly, you know, and got so used to that. So when I ditched the idea of having a desk because of space and various other things, you know, that was a real factor in it. You know, you need to be aware of your output all the time. What I personally do, and you know, the VUs, the ballistics on them are great, and the fact that you've got the 4 monos, so you want to stick your kick drum, your snare, and your vocal in the middle. It's just there. Bop, you know, you just, as long as your first, you know, I know my first 4 outputs is going to be kick, snare, vocal, and bass. It's great. You've got 20 inputs, which is great if you've got sort of some extra reverbs or you know, we always have 2 lines going to it, so that I can line any piece of gear up in the studio. There's always 2 lines going into 19 and 20, so you can just literally like just plug anything in and just go straight to the VU. So it's like, I mean, things like that. It's and just the sort of depth of it. You know, you get used to that big console sound. Like say, I used to, the studios I used to work at a lot, like Livingston and some of the local studios, and these have all got great. Like the board at Livingston is a great board. You know, get used to this whole sort of way a console responds and the depth you get out of it, and the headroom. You know. And you know, if you're on a great board, you turn your master fader down, the mix doesn't fall apart. You know, some of the old summing amps that I had, you turn the master fader down, it'd be like your right side would go up and your left side would go down. You'd be like sitting there like with a tone in it, like wiggling it, and you just wanted to turn the mix down a tiny bit. You know, it's like a great German car. Like you get in it and the clutch is heavy and you know, you feel it and it's stuck to the floor. It's kind of like that. You know, it's got that sort of heavyweight, I'm meant to do this feel to it, as opposed to a Ford Fiesta where you feel like the doors are going to fly off if you go too fast. You know, and I kind of love that reliability with it. And like I said, I've had it. You know, I haven't just got it. I've had it nearly, I think it's about 4 or 5 years. And you know, and I've done records where I've mixed them in other studios and brought them back here and mixed it all again. You know, I've never sort of sat there thinking, not getting that console sound.